You know, only about 2% of the people that own a business make it to the top 1% of income. And what that means is that they're making $29,000 to $86,000 a month net income. Now, this very small slice of people know something that you don't know. Now, if you're in that top bracket, you're either very lucky or you figured out this one little secret. But here's the secret. Stop working. You're working too hard. That's why you can't make any money. The people that are very successful look at a business and determine what's the value point. What do we do that customers really like? Now, how can I do more of that? And so every time they come up to any task or business obstacle, they solve the problem and they write a process and they delegate the work to someone else. And then they step up to the next higher event or task or size client and they figure out how to do that and they delegate the job to someone else. And then they step up to the next task. And so they're constantly growing to bigger events, bigger clients, bigger projects. And this drives the size of their company, reduces the amount of hours they have to work, and drives a lot more cash to the bottom line. Well, anybody can do this in any business. I've seen t-shirt shops where the owner nets $1 million a year. I've seen guys running little garbage trucks up and down the street on Saturday in the rural routes making $1 million. Auctioneers making $1 million a year. There are a lot of businesses in your niche, in your SIC code or industry that are already doing this. So we know it can be done in any industry. Let's figure out how to do it in yours. Here's the steps. Let's go to the screen. The secret is to get work off your desk. You must get work off your desk. And that means that when you start your business, or if you want to start actually making a lot more money, remember you've got to have systems in running your company. We need 4 systems: a lead system, a sales system, how do we get the work done, and then how do we manage the company. In our business, we use document management systems, Delegation Magic to be exact, to make this happen. All of our paper, it comes out of the chaotic office and goes into a document server in Allentown, Pennsylvania. And of course, we're HIPAA compliant and we use the latest encryption and all the security things that everybody does. That's really not a big selling point because everybody does the exact same thing. What's important though on this screen is that all of our staff, even our outside contractors, use dual monitors. The reason they do that is because with going paperless and dual monitors, they can get 8 hours of work done in 4 hours a day. But that's not the most important thing we're going to learn. Here is the most important thing. This is a list built into Delegation Magic of the strategic decisions you need to make on setting up systems. These are the 4 major types of lead systems with each individual particular type, like do we use direct mail, do we use broadcast phone calls, that sort of thing. System 2 is, here are the decisions we need to make on running our sales department. How do we close sales, upsell, get referrals? Then here's our production system, suppliers, inputs, a process. And then of course the 4th one is our finance and administrative systems. In business, answers are easy if you have the right questions. Well, here's the list of questions that you need to build systems so you can keep stepping up to the next level of work. Let's go back to the screen. What we do in our business is we have all of our vendors, and these are our vendors right here, and all of our vendors send documents right straight into our system. We do not allow anybody we do business with to send us mail. Now, in big companies, they're excited about this. They've been after you to go paperless for years. But we do the same thing with all of our customers, too. They do not send us checks. They fax checks in. They scan or email everything they send to us because it goes right into my document management system where I can build systems to run the company. And that's exactly the way that I'm going to be able to design processes that allow me to get out of the work and go to the next level. Using my paperless overnight system, I can watch what work's being assigned to who, and I can assign work myself back and forth to departments. The same thing with each one of my staff people. They have a question, they can send something back to bookkeeping with one click from their screen. The important thing to remember is what makes this work is paper is the work. Nothing in business happens that doesn't generate paper in 30 seconds. If we get the paper, we can track the work. In our business, we use something called bottom up. At first, the dot, and that's the person that works for me in the background at Delegation Magic, gets 15 cents to read a piece of paper, assign the work to one of your staff people, index it, set it up for retrieval, name it, and manage that document for you. One charge, and it's done. Now, the last thing they do is they say the person that's supposed to look at this work initially is at this level, and from here we hope this person at our lowest pay scale can get 80 to 90% of the work done. What they can't do, they bump up to their manager. I only want to see 1 or 2% of anything that comes into this company on my desk, because I'm not supposed to be actually doing work. I'm supposed to be building a company. What makes this happen is that our dots actually read the page, and they'll say this is from a vendor, and the vendor's name is Home Depot, and maybe it's a credit memo and the amount's $280. And by doing this, we've set up a system to track documents so we can track that work as it goes right into our marketing process or our production or our finance processes. And everybody that's on my master dashboard is actually a person. This person might work for me in a remote office. This might be somebody working from home in Idaho, but this might be this is my wife, and she's my outsourced bookkeeping contractor. And I use a lot of contractors and at-home workers to make this process function so that I don't have to do any work. The most important thing is I don't want work jumping up to me at the top of this level. I try to keep work off my desk. When a piece of paper comes in, my staff people know exactly what they're supposed to do because they're looking at how we name the page and what the tasks are. As they do work, they track what they're doing by clicking on boxes. If they have any questions, they make notes. And of course, we have an audit trail going all the time to track the work. If anything bumps up to me, because it's something I shouldn't, somebody else should be doing it, but it got to me somehow, I simply click a button called record how I want the work done, and then this becomes part of our knowledge base of how we do things here, just the way Michael Gerber wrote about it in the E-Myth. Well, this actually happens using delegation magic. And then my work is done without friction, and I can get out of the office. If I can get out of the office, then I can build a bigger business. And this happens because I'm paperless, because I have a delegation system, and because I have written a system that is titled Do It Once, Document How You Did It, and Delegate It. But the most important thing to remember is when I documented it, I didn't sit down and write a lot of instructions, because those are hard to understand. They're hard for you to do. I just did the job. When something bumps up to me, like this customer bounced a check, what do you want to do on it, boss? Now, I could sit down and write 2-3 pages of instructions on how to handle a bounce check. And do you know what? Somebody's going to walk into my office and say, what does this mean? And then they're not doing any work, I'm not doing any work. We spend 20-30 minutes explaining what it means, and then 2 months from now, another check bounces, and the staff person that was dealing with it, well, they quit, and I get to train all over. Or they forgot, and I get to train all over. Or I'm not in the office, and they don't collect, and it gets forgotten, and the check goes in the bottom drawer, and we never get the money. All those friction points have been eliminated because the task comes to me, I record my screen, I'm talking to my computer, and I manage the process, even including maybe a phone call to the client. And I'm recording how we do the job so that that task never gets to me again. This allows me to step up to the next job. Delegation Magic is a paperless overnight system. We do all this for just 15 cents. We read the page and we just take care of everything in the background, and then a small monthly fee to manage the servers and to do the backup. If you'd like to know more, simply click the button and ask for a demonstration, or call our office and we'll be glad to walk you through how Delegation Magic can keep your cash register ringing.